There is a number that ranks every civilization that has ever existed or ever will. Not its weapons, not its borders, not even its intelligence. One thing, how much energy it can command. And on that scale, the entire human race, 8 billion of us, with our rockets, our supercomputers, our artificial minds, ranks as roughly type 0.7. We have not even finished the first rung. Above us, the ladder climbs to powers that would look like magic. Civilizations that wrap their star in machines. Civilizations that light up entire galaxies. And the strange part? The climb has already started. The thing that turns a planet of scattered tribes into a single planetary civilization is happening right now, in your lifetime. So today we climb the whole ladder. Where we are. What we're becoming. When scientists think we'll get there. What life would actually look like at each level. How people might travel between worlds, rebuild planets, even cheat death. And the silent wall that may have stopped everyone who came before us. Let's start at the bottom. In 1964, a Soviet astrophysicist named Nikolai Kardashev was scanning the skies for alien radio signals. He hit a problem. How do you compare civilizations that might be a million years apart? You can't use their art or their politics. So he chose the one currency every civilization in the universe must share. Energy. He drew 3 rungs. A Type 1 civilization controls all the energy of its home planet. Every ray of sunlight, every wind, every tide, every ounce of heat in its core. A Type 2 civilization controls the entire output of its star. Not the light that lands on one planet, all of it. That's about 10 billion times more power. A Type 3 civilization controls the energy of an entire galaxy. Hundreds of billions of stars, harnessed at once. Another 10 billion-fold leap. Feel that scale. These aren't steps you walk up. The jump from us to Type 1 is almost nothing next to the gulf between Type 1 and Type 2. Each rung is a different universe of power. Later, the astronomer Carl Sagan refined it, filling in the decimals so a civilization like ours could be measured exactly. Which forces the uncomfortable question, where do we actually land? Run Sagan's math on us today, and humanity scores about 0.7. A planet civilization that hasn't yet learned to run its planet. Look at where our power actually comes from. Coal, oil, gas. We are almost entirely burning the buried remains of forests and creatures that died hundreds of millions of years ago. We are running the most advanced society in history on fossilized sunlight. Ancient batteries we are draining thousands of times faster than the Earth can refill them. Here's the humbling part. More energy from the sun strikes the Earth in a single hour than our entire civilization uses in a year. And we capture almost none of it. By the only cosmic measure that counts, we are primitive. A Type 1 civilization would look at our power grid the way we look at a caveman's fire. And yet, it doesn't feel primitive to be alive right now. It feels like the fastest, most connected moment in all of history. Both are true. And the reason why is the single most important idea in this video. Becoming Type 1 isn't only about energy. It's about unification. A planet becoming a single connected organism instead of 10,000 scattered tribes. And that part has already begun. 1. We grew a planetary nervous system. As of 2026, about 74% of all human beings are online. Over 6 billion people sharing one real-time network. In 2017, it was barely half the world. In a single decade, we wired most of our species together. No civilization in history had a shared global brain. We built ours in about 30 years. 2. Our languages are converging. A planetary civilization has to talk to itself. English is now the planet's lingua franca, roughly 1.5 billion speakers, most non-native, the default tongue of science, aviation, and about half the web. Mandarin Chinese is the other giant, over 1 billion. And AI now translates the gap between them instantly. For the first time, the species can speak to itself across any border. 3. We coordinate as a planet. Global finance, global supply chains, global responses to pandemics. Clumsy, fragile, often failing. But a century ago, none of it existed. So when you ask, are we becoming type 1? Socially, we already are. We're wiring the planet into one mind. What we haven't cracked is the energy. That's the wall. And the obvious next question is, when do we get over it? Nobody knows the date, but the forecasts fall into three camps, and the gap between them tells you everything. The optimists point at artificial intelligence. Their argument: every previous jump took a smarter civilization, and we are about to build minds far smarter than our own. If AI hits superintelligence, progress that should take centuries could compress into decades. Some futurists speculate we could brush against type 1 within our own lifetimes. The inventor Ray Kurzweil famously predicts a technological singularity around 2045, after which change becomes almost vertical. The mainstream is more grounded. The physicist Michio Kaku has long estimated that, if we don't destroy ourselves, humanity could become a true Type 1 civilization in roughly 1 to 200 years. A handful of generations. The first true Type 1 humans might already have grandparents alive today. The pessimists say centuries or never. That the energy problem, the climate, and our own politics are harder than the optimists admit, and that plenty of civilizations probably stall right here, forever. The truth is, we are the first generation with the tools to actually attempt it. Which means the date isn't fixed. It depends on choices we are making right now. So what would it actually take? For requirements, let's be honest about each. 1. Harness the whole planet's energy without burning it. The clearest path is fusion, the sun's own reaction, built on Earth. 4 decades a joke, always 30 years away. But in 2022, a US lab finally got more energy out of a fusion reaction than the lasers put in, and a private company is building a demonstration reactor aiming to switch on by 2027. Add planet-scale solar, deep geothermal, and next-generation nuclear, and a real road to Type 1 energy exists for the first time. 2. Become one cooperating civilization. Connected, yes. United, not yet. This may be the hardest requirement of all, because it isn't a technology. It's a choice. 3. Master the climate. Controlling a planet's energy means stabilizing its weather and oceans on purpose, not destabilizing them by accident, which is what we're doing now. For survive ourselves. More on that wall later. So picture the payoff. Imagine waking up in a Type 1 world. Energy is effectively free and limitless, so scarcity, the root of most human conflict, simply fades. Cities are arcologies. Vertical, green, self-powered. The weather is managed. Hurricanes are steered or starved before they form. There are no more energy wars, because nobody fights over what's infinite. Disease is largely solved because unlimited computation and energy turbocharged medicine. Humanity acts, finally, like one species sharing one world. That's the first rung. And from there, the only frontier left is up, off the planet entirely. A Type 2 civilization doesn't run on its planet. It runs on its entire star, about 10 billion times more power. How do you capture a star? The classic idea is the Dyson sphere, but more realistically a Dyson swarm. Not a solid shell, but billions of orbiting collectors drinking in nearly every photon the sun emits and beaming that energy wherever it's needed. To even attempt it, a civilization has to become something new. It becomes a multi-world species. You can't build star-scale machines from one planet, so you spread. The Moon, Mars, the asteroid belt, and giant rotating habitats called O'Neill cylinders, where entire landscapes curve over your head and gravity is made by spin. And how would people travel in that world? Space elevators could carry cargo to orbit on a ribbon instead of a rocket. Fusion engines could cut the trip to Mars from months to weeks. Permanent cycler ships could loop forever between worlds, so you just hop on as they pass. Terraforming becomes an engineering project, not a dream. Thickening Mars's atmosphere, melting its ice, turning a dead red world slowly blue and green over centuries. A Type 2 civilization would be effectively immortal as a species. A single star can burn for billions of years. No energy crisis. No resource war. With that much power, you could move planets, ignite dead worlds, and reshape your whole solar system to your liking. And once you own your star, the next leap is the stars themselves. A Type 3 civilization controls an entire galaxy, hundreds of billions of stars. Another 10 billion-fold leap. This is the realm of cosmic gods. The enemy is distance. Stars are absurdly far apart. So how do you cross a galaxy? We're already taking baby steps. A real project called Breakthrough Starshot aims to fire tiny gram-scale probes on laser-pushed light sails toward the nearest star at a fifth of the speed of light. Scale that up and you get true interstellar reach. Beyond that, generation ships, hollow worlds where your descendants are born, live, and die in transit. And at the far edge of physics, the speculative dreams. Wormholes, warp bubbles, folding space itself. We don't know if those are possible. A Type 3 civilization would. But the likely method is stranger and simpler. Self-replicating probes. A single machine flies to a star, mines its planets, and builds copies of itself which fly onward and do the same. Through pure exponential growth, even below light speed, such machines could colonize an entire galaxy in a few 100,000 to a few million years. In cosmic time, a blink. By then, the civilization almost certainly isn't biological. Across those distances and timescales, it would be a civilization of intelligence itself, minds running on engineered hardware, perhaps the descendants of an AI its flesh and blood creators built long ago. It could wrap billions of stars in Dyson swarms and even feed on the energy of black holes. To us, such a civilization would be indistinguishable from a force of nature or from the gods of every myth we ever told. Kardashev stopped at 3. But why stop there? A speculative Type 4 would harness the energy of galaxy clusters or the whole observable universe. A Type 5 would command multiple universes, if those even exist. Here we've left known physics and entered philosophy. Maybe impossible, maybe inevitable. We simply don't know. But step back and notice the thread running through every jump. Every leap, 1 to 2 to 3, demands building and steering systems no biological brain could manage. Dyson swarms, self-replicating fleets, star-scale engineering. None of it is done by hand. All of it is done by intelligence, amplified, automated, superhuman. Which means the most important technology on the entire ladder might be the one we're inventing right now. AI isn't a side quest on the road to Type 1. It may be the engine of every rung above it. The civilizations that climb this ladder won't be the ones with the most people. They'll be the ones that build the best minds. And that leads straight into the darkest question of all. If galactic civilizations are possible, the galaxy has had billions of years and hundreds of billions of stars to grow one. It should be roaring with signals, glittering with Dyson swarms. Instead, silence. This is the Fermi paradox. And humanity has dreamed up some unsettling answers. Maybe life is just incredibly rare, Earth a freak accident, and we're effectively alone. Maybe there's a great filter, a wall almost nothing survives, and the most dangerous place for it is right where we are. The jump from Type 0 to Type 1. The exact moment a species gains godlike power before it has the wisdom to use it. Or maybe the silence is deliberate. The dark forest idea says every civilization stays quiet, because announcing yourself to the cosmos is suicidal, so everyone hides, listening, afraid. The zoo hypothesis says they're already out there, watching us like animals in an enclosure, refusing to interfere. And the boldest of all, the simulation hypothesis, asks whether the silence is just the edge of a reality that was rendered only as far as we can see. We can't prove any of them. But notice where we're standing. At the exact threshold the great filter predicts. We built weapons that could end us in an afternoon. We're building AI we don't fully understand. We can edit life itself and engineer plagues. We're straining the climate we'd need to master, all while divided and distracted. What if every civilization that reaches this point faces the same test? Ascend or erase itself, and most choose wrong. The silence in the sky might not mean we're alone. It might be a warning left by everyone who failed before us. And right now, we are the ones being tested. Bring it back from the galaxy to you, because the climb doesn't just change our power. It changes what it means to be human. The same wave pushing us toward Type 1 is turning aging itself into a problem we might solve. Companies have raised billions to reverse aging inside human cells. AI and quantum machines are collapsing the time it takes to invent new medicine. For the first time, living for centuries, maybe indefinitely, is being discussed as engineering, not fantasy. So imagine you make it. You live to watch humanity become Type 1. Disease, gone. Energy, limitless. Worlds, plural. Would you take 300 years to see it? And the harder question, would you still be you after 3 centuries? After everyone you were born with has faded? Does a species that conquers death lose the very thing that made its time precious? Maybe mortality is part of the meaning. There's no clean answer, but it's the question waiting on the other side of the climb. So here's where we stand. One species, 8 billion minds wired together for the first time, sitting at Type 0.7, primitive by the universe's standards, but moving faster than anything that has ever lived on this world. Above us, the ladder runs almost forever, planetary, then stellar, then galactic. Below us, nothing. We climbed out of the dirt to get this far. The sky is silent. Maybe because the climb is brutal and most never pass the first rung. Maybe we're alone. Maybe we're early. Or maybe we're about to become the first. The question Kardashev never got to answer was never what we could become. It was whether we'd survive long enough to become it. So tell me down in the comments, do we make it to Type 1? Or fall at the filter like everyone before us? And if you could live to see it, would you want to? If you want to know how close immortality really is, watch this next.